Good afternoon. We're just about 3.5 hours from the first pitch of the Twins' first postseason game since 2021. As we wait for the team to take the field against the Toronto Blue Jays, Cece Gaines gives us a look at the team's playoff history and the importance of this series.
Hey, out here at Target Field, a very exciting day today. We know the game starts in a few hours at 3:38. There are still tickets available, limited tickets, but tickets are still available. Something to think about today. It's been nearly 20 years since the Twins won a game in the playoffs, and since then it's just been 18 straight losses. Players we talked to say they're not too affected by the losing streak, but instead they tell us they're feeling good ahead of today's game. Now, if the Twins win the best of 3 series, they'll face the Astros. Now, if you can't make it to Target Field today, you can watch the game from the comfort of your own home on ESPN. I'll send things back to you.
Well, there is still time to get tickets if you're planning a last-minute trip to today's game. The game is the top trending spot on the ticket site SeatGeek. Prices there start as low as $7, if you can believe that. On the Twins website, the lowest you will pay for a seat is $58, but there is standing room tickets for $34. And when you get to the stadium, you're going to see a lot of new food and merchandise as a celebration of the team's success. Eva Anderson shows us the latest gear from Target Field.
This week's series of games is set to have a spectacular fan experience. When you first walk through the gates, you'll get one of these, a free Homer hanky. It says "We Believe," and the idea is to wave it high to cheer on the Minnesota Twins. And yes, this stadium is going to be a sea of red. But let's get back to this merch. Brand new merch, including the shirt that I'm wearing saying "Take October." You have new t-shirts, a new sweatshirt for when it does get a little chilly. Certainly that's not going to be today. But also they have brand new menu items. Everything from a brat burger to pastrami Reuben pretzel sandwich to a tater tot hot dish from Union Monk Kitchen. Yum! They're also premiering a new playoff punch cocktail. All these items were cooked up specifically for this event. Also, if you're coming to the game and you haven't been since they have unveiled the new Scoreboard 2.0 project, when you walk in here, the scoreboards are going to be bigger and brighter, and they have this brand new baseball sculpture that will be twirling, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. It's set to be a great few days here. I'll send it back to you.
Great few days indeed. Taking a live look now at one of your roads leading up to the stadium. Clearly a smooth drive right now on 94 South at 7th Street heading into downtown. Jennifer Austin shows us what parking options you have once you get to Target Field.
If you're headed out to Target Field for some playoff baseball, here are your parking options. The Twins recommend this ramp right here, the Hawthorne ramp, the ABC ramp, you might be familiar with it. There are 7,000 spots just right there, right next to Target Field. That's why they recommend it. Some other options for you, though. We've got ramp B, also just adjacent to Target Field. And right beyond Target Center, you've got Mayo Clinic Square, another parking garage there. Should be plenty of space for you. And keep in mind, there's always public transit.
Well, it is definitely warmer than you would expect for a playoff game in October, John, and that series is going to have even more temperature changes, isn't it?
Oh, especially if unfortunately, if it goes more than 2 games, which you don't want it to. But today, I mean, it is hot. Temperatures are flying out here in the backyard. We are in the 80s already, 82. The south wind, that is only going to help it. Probably going to end up in the upper 80s again. So this is a middle of July type baseball game. Starting to see the front show up now to the west. You can see it out in Marshall, anything west out there in South Dakota, North Dakota. We're in the 60s. We are in the 80s, 83 right now in Mankato, 82 in the Twin Cities, 81 in St. Cloud. You can actually see a little bit of rain starting to show up here as you go out towards Alexandria, Marshall area and Redwood Falls. Some of this might try to get in during the game, but it would be just a spotty shower. The activity in Omaha, that is where we could see some thunderstorms start to roll in the Sioux Falls and Marshall. That's where we'll track that. You can see there is a severe threat down in the southwest pocket of the state. So that's something that we'll track as we go into my next weather. But it looks like the game is just going to be hot and dry for the most part.
All right, we'll take it, I guess. Thanks, John.
Weird, but good.
Yeah, as long as we get a win, who cares what the weather's like, right? Well, developing now, a higher bond has been set for the man accused of killing his estranged girlfriend, Maddie Kingsbury. The change was announced in a hearing just about an hour ago. Adam Fravel is facing charges of first-degree murder with premeditation, first-degree murder with a past pattern of domestic abuse, and 2 second-degree murder charges. Today, his bail was raised to $3 million. Kingsbury, a 26-year-old mother of 2 from Winona, disappeared back in March. Her body was found later in Mabel, Minnesota. The next court date is set for December 14th. If convicted, Fravel would receive a mandatory sentence of life in prison. The man who was facing homicide charges in Minnesota when he was mistakenly let out of an Indiana jail faced a judge in St. Paul. A continuation of Kevin Mason's first court appearance ended just minutes ago with another court date set for December. U.S. Marshals arrested Mason in South St. Paul after a 2-week manhunt throughout the Midwest. He's accused of shooting and killing a man in Minneapolis back in 2021. He was then on the run for 2 years before his arrest in Indiana last month. A clerical error led to him being mistakenly released. In about 6 hours, Minneapolis leaders are meeting with the community to discuss what to do with a liquor license for a store on the north side. The store in question is Merwin's Liquor, which is transferring its liquor license to TXT LLC Wine and Spirits. It's on the corner of Lyndale and Broadway, an area that has seen a lot of crime in recent years. And that's why some people are asking the city council to deny a reapplication request for that liquor permit in the hopes that it will force a different business to take up shop in that space. Tonight's meeting begins at 6 at the Northside Community Center, which is inside the Cub Foods. Turning now to national news, where backlash continues for the Republican House leader who voted for a spending plan that delayed a government shutdown. Several members of the Republican Party are calling for Speaker Kevin McCarthy to be removed from his position after he voted alongside Democrats. Yesterday, Representative Matt Gaetz motioned to force McCarthy to vacate the chair on the House floor. Now, sources say McCarthy is expected to make a procedural move to stop that from happening.
At this point next week, one of two things will happen. Kevin McCarthy won't be the Speaker of the House, or he'll be the Speaker of the House working at the pleasure of the Democrats.
It's easy to surrender. If you want to surrender, yeah. But if you want to fight for the American public, to secure our borders and keep government open, how is that a problem?
Representative Gaetz has said that he has enough Republicans on his side to force a vote. If that is the case, McCarthy would have to rely on Democratic support. Well, today, former President Donald Trump is back in court for the $250 million civil fraud case against him and his sons. NBC's Jay Gray is outside of the courthouse with how today will be different than yesterday.
Hey there, and look, day one of this high-profile, high-stakes case was really locked in legal and financial jargon, a lot of figures, a lot of talk about investments and holdings. Former President Trump is back inside this lower Manhattan courthouse today, the leading contender for the 2024 Republican nomination, skipping the campaign trail for day 2 of his fraud trial. Mr. Trump, his 2 adult sons and associates, accused of misrepresenting the net worth of his holdings by billions to secure better corporate loans and insurance rates. He is not required to be here. The former president, though, says he is in the courtroom to, quote, fight for my name and reputation. Last week, the judge in this case ruling Mr. Trump, his sons, and businesses are liable in the civil action. New York Attorney General Letitia James is seeking $250 million in fines, and perhaps even more crippling for Mr. Trump, a ban on his doing business in New York. The former president continues to say this case and 4 separate criminal indictments against him are politically motivated, and insists he's innocent of all the charges he is facing. The trial here expected to last about 3 months, and both prosecutors and the defense have included the former president on their witness list. Now, that doesn't mean he will take the witness stand. It doesn't mean he's going to testify, though he has said repeatedly he is anxious to speak before this judge. That is the latest here in New York. I'm Jay Gray. Now back to you.
Today, Hunter Biden pleaded not guilty in Delaware to 3 federal firearms charges. The president's son is accused of lying on forms and illegally buying a gun while on drugs. Today's plea sets the case on track toward a possible trial in 2024, while President Joe Biden is running for re-election. Incredible relief today for a New York family as a 9-year-old girl was found after police say she was abducted at a state park. The 2-day search for the girl came to an end when police say they tracked the suspect down. Investigators say a ransom note was left at the girl's home, and fingerprints led them to 47-year-old Craig Ross Jr. They arrested him inside a camper where they found the little girl hiding in a cupboard. Ross is being held without bail, charged with first-degree kidnapping. The family posted overnight expressing their appreciation to all the agencies that helped bring their daughter home. Well, driving 250 miles to run 26.2, still ahead, where hundreds of runners are turning after their marathon goals were scrapped by the heat this weekend. Plus, 2 projects are bringing more places to hang out in the Twin Cities. Details on one just getting underway and another that will be soon complete.